Yo,
Hey, welcome to the new meta, episode 85. The camera worked.
85. Yeah, you goddamn right it did.
Man, I'm so
Still
proud of you.
working on that PoE tree, I see.
Yeah, I am. Filling out every single node.
You're not supposed to get all the nodes, P. Come on.
I thought you are. Infinite levels, right? There's no cap.
Is
You
that
think
because
there's a
you've
cap?
never made it to
No.
level cap? You think that there is?
No. Oh my gosh. So we almost didn't get to have a podcast tonight.
True.
And the
Actually
reason
true.
for that is
The
sports
Chiefs.
ball. Yeah,
The Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
sports ball. And you live in the city
I do
that
live in the
won
city.
sports ball.
And so at first I was like, fuck yeah, because my work actually ended up giving us. So I have tomorrow off because the Chiefs they're going to have a parade.
24-hour stream.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Aren't you taking out your processor or some shit? Well, I thought we were going to play Apex. Anyways,
Oh, we doing that
you
too?
stood me
Okay.
up. You fucking stood me up, dude.
You didn't act like you were interested. I actually was interested.
Anyways, so yeah, Chiefs won the Super Bowl. And so we get tomorrow off. I'm like, fuck yeah. And then we get this email. It's like, hey, traffic could be pretty crazy. They're actually going to shut down like all the streets. And so they sent us like a little, like they slid into our DMs and said, hey, you guys might want to like roll out a little bit early that day because we're going to shut all the streets down. So traffic might be crazy. And so I park in this parking garage every day. It's like 8 stories high. And 5 o'clock rolls around. I'm like, all right, I should probably get out of here. I usually stay till like 5:36. And I'm like, I go to my car and I drive like maybe 6 inches and I'm behind another car and I don't move. I don't move for over an hour.
That's insane.
Like, and I'm stuck in the parking garage. Like, still.
Right.
Like, I didn't even move out of the parking garage. So I was like, fuck this. And so I just like went back into my spot, went back to work, just did like another hour and a half or so of work. And then I looked out the window and it seemed like it was okay, but it still took a while to get out of Kansas City. But it's like, why the fuck would you shut down the roads now before rush hour?
Yeah, that seems really silly. 5 o'clock on a Tuesday night is rush hour. Why not wait till like 9, 10, 11?
Yeah. What?
Like
what?
Like,
How
civil engineering, man. It's great.
Like the politicians in a meeting room, like they didn't really think this through. Like the Royals won, like what, 2-3 years ago or some shit. Like you would think that they'd have this like down.
But
they don't.
I don't know. The Blues just won and they had a parade downtown, but I didn't go to that shit. Right. It doesn't look appealing to me. Like, let's go get smashed into a bunch of people. And speaking of sports ball, so the Super Bowl was Sunday for those of you guys that don't pay attention, or maybe you're not in America and don't follow American sports. But the Super Bowl was Sunday, biggest sporting event probably in the United States, I would imagine. And so everybody parties and drinks and all this kind of stuff, and lots of people do. And so after the football game around midnight, there was this lady driving home, and I don't even know how it's possible. I can't explain how this is possible. But she drove her car through my building, like went in through. We have really big glass panes on our building, and she drove through it. And it's like, I get to work on Monday, and I see there's like boards up on the windows, and I'm like, what the hell? And so I go in, and I thought somebody robbed us, is what I thought. I thought somebody smashed the window and robbed the building, because it's an office building full of computers and shit. I'm thinking, okay. So I go in and I'm like, what happened? Because everybody's kind of lingering in the lobby.
Yeah.
And my boss is like, yeah, man, this girl was drunk last night and she ran through the building. I got a call from the cops at like midnight, and they're like, yo, we need you to get down here right now. Do you own the building? He's like, yeah. And like, we need you to get down here. Somebody has driven their car into your building. And he's like, what? So, I mean, nobody was there. It was midnight, but it was directly underneath my office though. So I'm like, is my office going to like cave in?
Yeah.
Or,
the windows have structural integrity? Or?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Like, how do you even, like, how drunk are you that you drive into a fucking building? Like, drive off the road, sure, like, but you keep going?
Marks. Like, okay, she went between 2 trees. Like, they have trees planted on the sidewalk, And like there's enough gap for like a car and a half, maybe, to fit between these trees. But you have to go at a 90-degree angle from the road. So you had to have turned perfectly at a 90 and go straight. And it's like, I'm thinking if she's going down the road going fast enough to go into the building, she had to be doing like 40 or 50 at minimum. And to make that churn doesn't even seem possible. Like I can't even explain how she could have done it.
Nailed it.
Unless she just like thought it was a churn somehow. And it's like, I'm just going to go down this street, and just churned and just drove into the building. I don't know, man. But she got her car stuck. So she like drove into the building, right? And her car is like in this lady's office and had knocked like her entire desk and computers and shit everywhere. And she was like, oh, fuck. And she tried to leave. So she put it in reverse. And her car was stuck though. So she's like during a burnout. So when they actually pulled her car out, there was this huge burnout through the carpet and like into the subflooring of the building of Tire Trek.
Nice.
Shit, you know,
solid. Kelly people.
Fucking idiots, man.
Awesome.
So, yeah, that's my story. And then today I go to work, and there was a recycle truck, like a big trash truck. And as I'm pulling in, it's load of trash. Like, just think of a big ass trash truck that has the hook that dumps the trash, right?
Right.
It is on fire. And so the guy goes like across this. Yeah, there's a big parking lot across the street from my building. And this guy goes into the parking lot and dumps the trash. He like tilts it up and he dumps burning trash on the thing. It was really smart for him to like not let his truck burn up. But he dumps all this trash over. And so I'm pulling in the parking lot, and there's like no way. I cut through this parking lot to get to my office. I had to go around a long way. And I'm like, fuck it. I'm driving past this burning trash. I don't care. So I drive right past it, and I pull in, and of course everybody's like lingering in the lobby again, watching this trash burn. And they're like, what are you doing, dumbass? Why did you drive past it? I'm like, fuck it, man. I'm not going the long way around. And then a fire truck comes and they shoot the trash out. And like, you know, it was crazy. It's doing a crazy.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Is that me or you? I think it's you. It's been a crazy... What? You're gone. He gone. That reminds me. So, while he's gone, I used to work in Topeka, Kansas, which is like the capital of Kansas. And it's like, it's a real shit town. And while I worked there, I only had to drive there, so I was remote, right? So it's like an hour and a half away from where I am now. And I would remote in after the first 2 weeks, but the first 2 weeks I had to go in. And like the first week out, maybe the second, third day, I stopped at a gas station to get a slice of like pizza or some breakfast or something. And this guy, this homeless guy, like runs in, grabs 3 slices of pizza, shoves them down his pants, runs back outside. I'm like, okay, you know, Topeka's weird. I go to my job. I leave the same day, and I get solicited for sex by a prostitute who I didn't even know was talking to me, because it looked like she was having a conversation with the dumpster. And then 1 week after that, driving to work, and there's what, you know, the yellow tape everywhere, and there's just there's a murder. There's chalk outline on the ground and everything. So I can relate. Well, that's a first. We've never had that before.
No. So a nice start, man. That was interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. So,
well, I told my work story while you were away, and it was fun. Cool. It was good.
Cool. And that was a Discord issue on, I don't know what happened.
It's so weird.
We got some juice though. You want
to we do.
Juice?
Let's do the polls.
The poll.
Real quick.
Do it up.
Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so wait, was this 2 weeks ago? That was 2 weeks ago.
No, we did a podcast last week.
No, but the charms, was that from last week? No, that was
2 weeks ago.
Hang on, I had the screen real quick. Get the wrong
poll in there.
Yeah, hang on. This is just going great. This is going so good. Okay, this one maybe? Yeah. Here we go. Yeah. Okay.
Nailed it.
So last week we asked if 2.6.8 doesn't include any changes for your favorite class, will you play it? It's funny, we joked last week, oh, this could be topical. But neither, I mean, did you think that Necro and DH weren't going to get shit?
I thought Wizard was going to be one of them, right? Like I actually even thought it was going to be Hydra, so I was right on that. But I didn't think Barb was going to get one. And I don't care about Witch Doctor. We talked about that. So, no, man, I thought DH. I thought it was going to be Wizard and DH.
Yeah, me too.
So, no, I don't. That surprised me a little bit.
But yeah, so, I mean, what do you say? 3.6.8 doesn't have...
Yeah, man, I think people will still play.
Not
You're
just
either going to
people.
play your favorite class.
It's you, right? It's you. Will you still play? You say yes.
Of course. Yeah, for sure. If they only would have done Witch Doctor and not a seasonal theme, then yeah, I would have skipped it. But
okay. I mean, I'll say yes too. I'll take one for the team because I know everybody wants me to play it. It's somewhat split, not as bad as it could have been. So, 64% of the vote says yes, and 36% of the vote says no. So that's pretty interesting. About a third of people really just want content for the class that they play.
For their class, yeah.
Which I get, man. I'm definitely there's a level, like there's a 10 out of 10. If Necro gets juice, I'm ready. New content, let's go, baby. But if Necro doesn't get shit,
hard class like that. Like there are classes I favor, but I'm not like this is my class. Like I like Barb a lot, I like Wizard a lot. Those are my two favorites, but I still like other things,
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have to fit in that.
Definitely down if there's no Necro juice. And then for next week, this one's interesting. Okay. So for next week, our poll, let me spam it real quick. Should there be an end game and all measure of power? And what I mean by that is something like the Uber Elder from before Metamorph, Awakener 8, and the current state of PoE, or should power continue to scale? Example, greater rifts.
Yeah, let's not talk about it.
Yeah. I've got so much to say on this subject. So I'm actually really excited for this one.
Okay. I got some thoughts too. I wonder if we're the same. Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not, because you're a weirdo.
Probably not.
All right. The patch notes.
We did get more. This is 2 weeks in a row with Diablo juice, man.
Yeah.
What the heck?
So we got the patch notes we were hoping for. And to, right out of the gate, as we just touched on, they gave us that chart from last week of the aggregate data of classes that are where classes are, and DH and Necro were the bottom, and Crusader was the top. And so we see some congruency, right? So we saw Crusader, he got nerfed.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find the animation cancel was in fact patched, which I'm curious. I don't see anything in here that says anything about Raycor charge barb.
Just says it just talks about Heaven's Fury, and Raycor is not top tier at the moment, so I don't know how big of an issue it really is. I mean, Whirlwind's stronger. I'm assuming the new set's going to be stronger. So Raycor is kind of an afterthought at this point, but and I also didn't see any rebalance of the set either. So is that nerf going to be overtuned? That's a ton of damage to lose.
Yeah,
a crazy ton.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I'm a little nervous that Crusader just got beaten with that nerf stick a little too hard.
Sure.
But that's what the PTR's for. I guess we could test it and give feedback and say, Jesus, you neutered us.
Right.
Give us a little bit back. But I'm okay. We got to play that set for this season, and it was fun. And if it's not top tier anymore, that's okay.
Yeah.
But I would like to see. It was nice having Crusader be RGK.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was cool. So I don't know if they're going to retain that from Demon Hunters, especially with the seasonal theme. I don't know.
I will say so. I like that they did this because, again, I think that the playstyle of the Fist of Heaven set should be more focused around Fist of Heavens and having the Heaven's Fury runes come from the sky. I really like that playstyle. That's how I was playing it anyways. And it was doing okay, so I don't think that it'll be like really bad, but I'm surprised it didn't come with a small buff to go with it to make up for it. But again, it's a consistency thing for me too, because If you're gonna nerf animation canceling, do it across the board. Like Barb shouldn't be able to do that either.
Yeah.
So that's just my 2 cents on that.
Yeah. The animation cancel won't change the playstyle of the Barb at all. It will just make the generation of the stacks consistent. Mm-hmm. And so I agree.
And then we get into the arguably the most pog thing here, at least for me as a Necro, is the new seasonal theme, the season of Forbidden Archives.
Forbidden Pleasure. Wait, what?
Yes. So basically means, yeah, you can wear anything in any slot in the cube. So you can have 3 weapons, 3 jewelry, whatever you want. What do you think? The
cube is just 3 slots. It's cool, man. Yeah. I think it gives you tons of possibilities. It's, I think, for the first time in a long time, going to let people really experiment with shit that maybe people haven't thought of before. I mean, at least for a little bit. And it's cool. I don't know how the longevity of that's going to hold up over the course of a season. I think ultimately, at first it's going to be like, oh, what if we try this? What if we try this?
Yeah.
But I think it might lose a little flavor after a couple of weeks. But man, I think the first 2 weeks of the season, the first 3 weeks of the season, they're going to be hot. They're going to be fun. So,
yeah.
And I also instantly thought, holy shit, lawn rats.
Yeah, that's true.
Instantly, man. I was like, oh my God, lawn rats are going to be so ridiculous. So, I haven't theory crafted hardly at all with this. Yeah. I haven't watched anybody's theory crafting videos yet.
Sure.
I can't imagine that people aren't already predicting it's season of rats.
Yeah, I don't see how it, we get
I don't see how it can't be.
Flat damage mod on top of how good it already was. Like, it was already, like, if you built it out last league, it was probably, just as good as the Barb season. Last league? Same thing.
God, oh, you fully converted, haven't you?
I've
You're
told chat.
PoE blood, aren't you?
I've told chat that, like, I'm gonna smidge. I still say I'm running rifts when I play PoE, and I'm running maps, and people freak out. Like, yeah. Just you get it. You guys understand. League season, same.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
But yeah, I don't even remember what I was just fucking saying. PTR. What the hell?
You were saying that if you built out rats last season.
Yeah. And they were like already like we would speculate that like they're probably just as good. It's just way harder to like really spec out to the max, like because it takes a lot longer than it would have taken to gear up that Barb Crusader run. But now like with that straight, at least a 200% more damage multiplier on top of LOD rats, at least. That's gonna be pretty nuts. Actually nuts. Being able to wear a Drag Fang.
Man, they're gonna farm like madmen. So there could be some cool possibilities you see emerge with the rats too.
Yeah.
I don't know what I don't study necro stuff as much as you. I'm sure you probably can already think of some really ridiculous like triple weapon setups that are gonna be like. Oh,
I think a necro could be our trash killer.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely in the realm of possibility. I think a Nova Necro could be trash killer for sure. Because one of the big things, also pretty pog, is so they've added this. This doesn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people, and I think they should probably have clarified this a little bit better.
Yeah, This is I saw this, and let me get your reaction on this. I'll tell you what I felt when I read that. So I'm scrolling through the patch notes, and what Fluff's about to read is if you go down and it says Mantle of Channeling. Bonus generated by this item now occurs 1 second after channeling has begun. And the second I read that, I thought, oh, damn. They couldn't fix it, so they just broke the items. And like, I think that feels really bad, man.
I agree.
I think that feels really bad. And now, don't get me wrong. Maybe the engine legitimately couldn't fix the issue, and there was like no way for them to fix it. And I get it, man. Like I get that this is not the original development team. They don't have the engineers that wrote the code way back in the day.
Sure.
And so fixing it could be impossible. And I get that. But when I read this, I was like, dude, that feels bad. That's just kind of how I felt. And then I scrolled down a little more and I saw that if you go down, you can find where are the other items.
Etch Sigil and Death Wish. Yeah.
Yeah, the Etch Sigil and the Death Wish, and they have the exact same thing on them. Etch Sigil bonus occurs 1 second, and Death Wish occurs 1 second. And so, I'm like, well, that was 100% intended to kill Star Pact Wizard.
Yes.
That was the only reason that they did it, is to kill Star Pact Wizard.
But you're right, it does feel bad. Like if you're a class that uses Mantle of Channeling, which is, I assume, a ton of builds out there.
Barb.
Yeah.
I mean, Whirlwind Barb instantly came to mind when I saw Mantle of Channeling.
A little bad. But, at the same time, they could revise this. Lex did a video that was a super interesting. He said that to fix it, they don't even need to do the 1 second. If they did 350 milliseconds, it would 100% prevent the bazooka.
Yeah.
And so that would be a better fix if they have to go this route. So they could still change that. And I hope that they do, but...
Yeah, and like chat's saying, like somebody in chat's like, Whirlwind doesn't need Mantle. No, it doesn't need it.
But you can use it, right?
Yeah. It can use it.
Other builds use Mantle of Channeling. So if you nerf it just for this one build, it feels bad. That's what we're saying.
Yeah. Other builds do use it.
Other builds use Death Wish.
Aren't going to use the meta. They're like, oh, this is cool. Let me throw it. Oh, what?
Why isn't this going off? Oh, no, wait, just 1 second. I hope they add that to the item, too, because I hate that. If they don't add it, like...
Oh, in the description.
Yeah, in the description of the item, they don't say that 1 second. That stuff drives me nuts, too. And there's some of that in this, right? And we'll get into that in a second, but like before I forget, the wizard set is Hydras, like we thought it would be, and I think that's what most people wanted. So I think this is a win. But apparently, and it doesn't say here, but the 4-piece bonus says damage taken is reduced by 8% for each Hydra head alive as long as there's one available. And so immediately I'm like, oh, you stand a freezing pulse. Like all your Hydras die, and then you have no mitigation, and you're fucking dead. But apparently, on Twitter, there's a post by a Nevilist where she says, "Oh, there's an internal cooldown on how fast they can die."
Okay, because I instantly thought the same thing, and I didn't read that post, so I'm glad that you just told me that.
Right,
I didn't know that. And
I didn't know that until after I made the video.
I had a conversation with my chat when I was reading the patch notes, and it says damage taken for each Hydra. It says damage taken is reduced by 8% for each Hydra head alive as long as there's one available, which is what you just said. And it says each time you take damage, a Hydra head dies. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, if you get hit by Frozen Pulse, if you get hit by Electrified or all this, they're going to instantly poof. So are you just going to have to stand there with crazy attack speed spamming Hydras? What's the ratio of I can make a Hydra versus I can lose a Hydra? And so I even said I'll reserve judgment until I see how fast they go away. But so hopefully the internal cooldown, I'm afraid that this set's going to make me stand there and like constantly just throw Hydras down to stay alive and let them do damage like blindly, as I guess it feels almost like the Gargantuan build that Witch Doctor had, where it's just you run around, stay alive while your pets randomly kill shit.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I hope that's not what this turns into, like where am I standing? Don't stand in dumb shit.
Right.
Blindly cast Hydras.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see.
I hope that you have to like maybe cast. What's that wizard passive where if you cast like one thing from every element, it gives you more damage or something?
That was on. Yeah, there is a passive. I don't remember the name.
I don't remember. Hopefully there's something like that you have to do maybe, so that you're actually casting and engaging. Because the Hydras, the 6-piece or the Magistrate was changed so that your Hydras now periodically cast Frost Nova instead of Frost Hydras cast Frost Nova. So maybe that's way of you doing 2 of the elements that you need. Right. I don't know. Elemental Exposure. Thank you, Chet. Yeah, hopefully you have to do something like that. But this is actually kind of interesting because like it's a little 5-head. No pun intended. I don't know if they intended this pun either. So you double duration of Hydras, increase the number of heads on the multi-headed Hydras by 2. So the multi-headed Hydras have 3 heads.
Right.
Add 2 and they're 5-head. And then you can have 2 out because of Serpent Sparker, so you could have 10 heads. But then, I thought more after I made the video. What about Mirror Image? Does Mirror Image copy your Hydras?
I don't know. They copy your spells, right?
So then you could have 20 temporarily? I don't know. That's a testing thing, but that would seem OP. I doubt it. That seems too good. I don't know. But yeah.
So yeah, man, I don't know. So this set, when I read it, this is the one I was most excited for. When I saw Wizard, I was like, oh shit. This set makes me really, I don't know. I gotta play it first. You know? So let's read the set bonuses because we didn't go over all of them.
Yeah,
anyway.
sure.
So the Wizard class is called the Typhoon's Veil, and it's the 2-piece bonus doubles the duration of Hydras and increases the number of heads on multiple Hydras by 2. The 4-piece bonus is what we just read. Damage taken is reduced by 8% for each Hydra head alive, as long as there's one available. Each time you take damage, a Hydra head dies. And then the 6-piece bonus says your Hydras deal 1,000% increased damage for each Hydra head you have alive. So if the mirror image thing works, that would be ridiculous. Nutty. Yeah. So that's why I'm thinking it probably won't. But and if it does, then it's going to be required. But that could be fun. Honestly, it just depends on how you play, how it plays. And then they changed some of the items with it too. Serpent Sparker gives you 1 extra Hydra, but they also added a 450 to 600% damage buff to it. Magistrate, your Hydras now periodically cast Frost Nova. Not just Frost Hydra, it's all Hydras, like Fluff said earlier. And then they deal 450 to 600% increased damage also. So.
Wait a second.
Mirror image.
Yeah.
What does it say?
This is actually better than I thought. So summon 2 duplicates of yourself that taunt nearby enemies. Spells cast by your mirror image will deal 10% of the damage of your own spells. So the 2 mirror images could each have their own 2 Hydras. Right?
It says they cast your own spells, but is it just going to randomly pick something on your bar? They'd have to
30 heads?
If they did it, which it probably can't. It probably can't.
It's still 5 head.
Yeah. We'll see.
I don't know, dude. That seems crazy.
Yeah,
if that works. If that works.
If it works. But yeah, that was the Wizard set class. I mean, your overall thoughts. What did you think? Look interesting?
Again, I think this is a win because I think people really wanted Hydras. I really thought that the 4-piece. Originally, I read it and I was like, okay, damage is reduced by 8% for each Hydra you have a head alive. And then I think that's like a more clever than being like, okay, if you have a Hydra active, you get 40% damage mitigation. Yeah. I love that way more than like just a flat, mitigation rate. And of course, my mind immediately went to like, oh God, you're going to freezing pulse and get wrecked. But if there's internal cooldown, it could be cool. But they definitely need to say that again. If there's internal cooldown, just say it. Like, I don't understand why they do that.
I think a lot of it depends on this. And this kind of goes back to the Crusader set, because when I read the patch notes for the original Crusader set, I was like, 5 seconds is super short. Like, I hope it's more than that. I don't know if they ever fixed the tooltip on that. I think it might have even said 5 seconds when it went live, but it was 10. It wasn't 5, it was 10.
Well, they took out that ICD thing completely.
Yeah, and the stacks were like instant. So if you're casting Hydra and your Hydra has multi-heads are increased by 2, so if it's a multi-headed Hydra, you're going to have 3 per cast is the way that reads to me, right? So you're going to have 3 a cast. So if a Hydra dies, though, like let's just say you get hit, whatever, and 1 dies, that's a pretty big chunk of
mitigation.
Of mitigation you're losing. So you got to make sure you're on top of casting those Hydra. So it could be fun.
Yeah. But again, that seems a little weird to me too, because if like there's an internal cooldown on how fast your Hydras can die, like does that mean they go invulnerable after 1 dies and there's like that 4-second internal cooldown? Like that doesn't really make sense to me either.
I would think that they have like 1 HP. Yeah, that makes exactly what it sounds like to me. The Hydras, to me, it seems like they're
gonna cheat death.
They're invulnerable anyways. I would assume maybe they're just invulnerable all the time because they go away when you take damage, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they take no damage ever anyways.
I don't know. Seems weird. Yeah.
Seems logical. I don't think they take damage now. Barbarian, let's hit that up.
Yeah, Barbarian. And again, we have some hidden things here that we'll talk about. But the new class set is called Horde of the 90 Savages. I don't know. I should have asked like 9ball or something before we started the pod like what that meant. 90 Savages, like where did that name come from? But 2-piece is also a little controversial in my opinion. So the 2-piece bonus says double the effectiveness of all shouts. Feared enemies take double damage.
Okay, so what'd you think when you read that?
Well, immediately I thought of how last week they said we don't want to add items for support classes.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I read this and I went, "Oh my God, Z-Barb!"
Yeah,
like I didn't even get to the next line. Like I read this and I'm like, "Okay, new set 90 Savages, 2-piece bonus, effectiveness of shouts, enemies take double damage." Oh my God, Z-Barb! Like that's exactly what my brain did. And I'm like, "Okay, what's the next one?" And I went to the next one. Man, that's going to be a requirement for Z-Barbs going forward. You know.
Right. I mean, that seems really, really strong. And 4-piece bonus, each stack of Frenzy reduces damage taken by 5%. And this kind of goes back to what I just said. Like, that's a pretty boring way of doing mitigation. I get that. That's a Diablo 3 thing. Hopefully Diablo 4 is a little bit more innovative. But I did like how the Wizard Hydra set seemed to be a little bit more creative in that sense, in that regard. But this is just a flat damage mitigation if you hit.
I'm okay with that. I mean,
I'm okay with it too, but like it's just not exciting.
Forever. I don't remember how long they last. It's not super long though.
Yeah.
So I think your bonus damage reduction is going to drop switching levels and things like that, where it could make it kind of scary maybe to get it
look it
back up
really quick.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. And while you're Googling that, and then in the 6-piece reads that Frenzy deals 1,000% increased damage per stack. So it's going to get kind of nutty.
Right. So it's 4 seconds is how long the Frenzy lasts.
4 seconds. That's pretty short. A level change and you're dropping stacks.
A little typo, which is one hell of a typo. So 6-piece, as you just said, Frenzy deals 1,000% increased damage per stack. And then Brandon came out on the forums and it's like, oopsie.
Right.
That's not exactly how it goes. It says Frenzy now stacks. Oh, this is the Bastion. Sorry. Bastion. So the Bastion's review says Frenzy stacks 10 times and hits an additional time per stack, is in the special notes, which is insane by itself. We're like, wow, that seems really strong. But then she comes out and clarifies and says it hits an additional time per stack. Each additional hit will change to enemy within 15 yards, blah, blah, blah. So like it would hit 10 additional times at 10 stacks per swing.
So the original one says hits an additional time per stack, and Frenzy can stack up to 10. So that would have been 10 times per swing.
Yeah.
Right. And then the reworded one, let me pull this up. The reworded one says that the Frenzy now stacks up to 10 times and hits.
No. So the original one was additional time per attack.
Yes.
The new one is per stack. So it's infinitely better than it was stated originally. But originally it's like, oh, wow, it hits an additional time. And Frenzy hits really fast already. And now it's like, no, it hits an additional time per stack, which is nutty.
Yeah, man. That's going to be nuts, right?
Like,
yep.
Every swing you just hit like 1,000 times.
I imagine the animation's not going to get shown. It's just going to throw up a time-gated damage number. I don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah.
It's cool. I mean, this set, when I read it, I thought this could be cool. This could be really cool.
Right.
The only thing I'm not super like stoked about is the fear mechanic on the 2-piece.
2-piece, yeah.
Because I think fear is just a shitty mechanic, because you're having to chase a mob that's running away from you down with Frenzy, which means you have to stay on top of them. So like that's seems more like a support role thing to me. And then most of the time you don't want to fear enemies anyways. You want to group them up. But at the same time, if you're fearing enemies, they're not damaging you usually. And
there's a lot of class mechanics out there that can root though, so you can fear and root. And maybe...
and like rats, for example, when you're doing speed runs, rats can fear shit. If rats will attack feared enemies, and it doesn't matter. Yeah, like no worries. The mages don't get.
It's actually even better, because if they run away from the mages and you're wearing Zais, like more damn.
It's like this. So when I read this, I'm thinking like, dude, Z-Barbs and rat runs just got juiced.
Yeah,
like nutty. And then
On
I'm
top
looking at the
of
frenzy.
the necro rats getting juiced.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm
Oh my
saying. Like, this
God.
patch is like, oh my God, rats. It should
Rats
be
are
like
back.
season of super fucking rats, like just not regular rats. This is crazy rats. But and then you read the 4-piece and you're thinking, well, I instantly thought, can I RGK with this? Because you could stack Stricken and you're gonna have the stuff. And so I'm thinking like this could be a really fun new RGK. And Barb actually gets to not Z-Barb for a change and kill things.
Yeah.
And that could be cool.
I
man.
do like how Bastion's Revered reads as well, where it says it's split between all the enemies. So you read that and you're like, okay, well, maybe it's not in your favor to like, maybe you're trying to get the elite by himself to get the better progress. Like maybe it's better progression on this build to elite hunt and like not kill trash. Yeah. And that could be a really interesting playstyle. So I hope that that's how that actually is supposed to read. And then like, oh shit, I got density. Like maybe I can use my chain hook to pull out just the elite or something like that. Like that would be pretty dope.
Yeah, this set after I got done reading it, I went back and I'm like, dude, what is this even? Let me I read it again to like look at the bastions and put the stuff together and look at the Z-Barb, and I'm thinking all the things. This looks fun to me. Like I'm excited to play this set. This is to me my favorite of the 3 sets they put in.
Yeah,
on paper.
Yeah, I mean, so Frenzy Barb is what I played in Diablo 2. Like when I started really taking the game seriously, I played a Frenzy Barb. And like I remember having a ton of fun, but the fact that it's just like a left click skill, it's another left click build, it makes me a little less excited. But hopefully, again, there's a lot of other interactions and mechanics you can utilize, like maybe the spear or whatever. But if it's just like stand there and hold left click, I don't know. But
I think it could be a good time. Again, and then like you said, to mix the 2-piece on the Z-Barb with rats, insane. It's going to be fun. I think it'll be fun.
But again, this is another win, in my opinion, because I think of all this Barb skills, is either weapon throw or frenzy. And I think people really want. I would have rather, if you ask me honestly, I would have rather seen like frenzy thorns be kind of like an LOD buff to frenzy thorns would have been, I think, maybe the better play. And then having like a weapon throw set would have added just a little bit more diversity to the Barb class. So now Barbs officially will probably never have a weapon throw build at this point, right? Because we're probably not going to get more sets in the future. That's the kind of the Debbie Downer thing of all these new sets, is that if a skill isn't being utilized at all on these new sets, and there was never a time in the game where it was being utilized, like we can like basically forget that skill even exists. Which feels really bad.
Yeah, well, I guess it depends on how long Blizzard slow. What do they say? What was the quote from BlizzCon?
Not even Blizzard soon?
Not even Blizzard soon? Yeah. So I guess it depends on how not even Blizzard soon is, if we're going to get new sets again.
But that still feels bad. Like, Revenge for Barb. Like, that's literally never going to get used, ever. And that's like,
but it had its limelight back in the day in Whirlwind.
And vanilla? Kind of.
I'm pretty sure it did. But yeah, you can't make every skill usable. And there's just too many skills in the game, I feel like, that they're never used. So I don't know how you can fix that without either pruning skills or just dumping a bunch of sets. I like this. I think it's cool. I think it's going to appease barbarians. Are you trying to piss off the Barb forums again?
Yeah. Hey, listen, devs, nerf this shit. Nerf it. Clip it, guys. Clip it all over the Barb forums. And then last.
We missed one item. The undisputed champion gives frenzy every single rune, by the way, more damage.
And more. And it's got a multiplier on it now.
300 to 400% damage. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Witch Doctor. This set. So the frenzy set, again, I think people wanted frenzy, but I think there's other things people wanted maybe as well. The wizard, it seemed like a very common consensus that basically everybody wanted Hydras. So I think that was a win.
Yep.
But then the Witch Doctor set gets a Spirit Barrage set, and this makes zero sense to me. I don't even know that people asked for a Spirit Barrage set.
I don't know. What were people asking for?
Zombie Charger bears? Or what's the other one? Acid Cloud. Zombie Charger, Acid Cloud. I don't know.
Acid Cloud would be cool. I don't know, man. I tried zombies. I played around with zombies one night on stream just to see what it was, and maybe they could have made it cool with a set. But But yeah, I'm not a witch doctor main, so to me, I kind of glossed over the witch doctor. I was like, okay, spirit barrage, that's cool. I'm probably not even gonna play it, but I'll look into it. I'll build it on the PTR since it'll be easy.
Sure.
And I'll put it together and I'll play it and I'll kind of see what it feels like, and hopefully it's cool. It does have some unique, like the barber adds some very unique mechanics to this. So I guess the 2-piece says that Big Bad Voodoo now follows you and lasts twice as long. And that's cool, man. So the Big Bad Voodoo is the totem you slam down and it gives you a damage buff. So your damage buff totem is now going to chase you. Is it going to have legs
by
and walk?
itself it gives damage. I think you have to slot it.
You have to use a rune. Yeah, you're right.
But you'd have to use, with this setup, you'd use Spirit Dance because it gives you the 250 mana regen.
Okay.
How 6-piece works.
So the voodoo follows you around now instead of at least being stationary like it used to be.
Which is good.
And it lasts twice as long, so that's cool. It's a bigger
it increases your attack speed for 15% per 20 seconds by itself.
It's a bigger cooldown, so you got twice as long, easier to keep up.
Yeah.
Yep. Your 4-piece bonus, you gain 50% damage reduction for 30 seconds when you enter the spirit realm. So
Spirit Walk on the bar. You're going to have that anyways. It's the best witch doctor skill there is.
Yeah, so you're going to constantly Spirit Walk on cooldown always, most of the time. And then 6-piece bonus, Spirit Barrage deals increased damage equal to 50 times your mana regen per second.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's why you would pair it with the Big Bad Voodoo. You're right. But okay, so that in itself is kind of like, all right, I guess.
I think before we go on to the next season, I think that by itself, I mean I think that's a little boring.
I agree.
But it does have some implications. Like if this is shareable, like that's a pretty good basic 2-piece and 4-piece.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can wear, Mundunugus, Mundunugus, Virgilia, I don't even know. If you can wear this with other sets, like there's some potential there. There's some big time potential there. But I think the interesting part of this to me, and I think the only way that this makes sense is if it's more of a speed farming set. And the reason I say that is it seems like, so I don't know if you've ever played Manitau, Spirit Barrage Manitau.
No.
Okay, so it's one of the Spirit Barrage runes, and it basically summons this guy above your head who's like a witch doctor, and he's like going like this, like he's partying and dancing, and he throws out like little spirit barrages.
Oh, okay.
And the interesting part about that particular rune is that it stays up when you go into chicken form.
Okay.
So
you can run around speed chicken.
Right. And so my brain immediately went to that when I saw this, but then to even kind of drive it home on Gazing Demise, the new Gazing Demise. So Spirit Barrage gains in Phantasm Room. Each Phantasm lasts twice as long. Increases damage to Spirit Barrage by 100 to 150%. And also increases the attack rate from Manitau.
Okay.
So I'm thinking maybe that I'm just theoretically in my head, like you could run the Acid Cloud weapon, the autocast Acid Cloud. You're in chicken form, and the Manitau spitting out all the spirit barrages above your head. Maybe you have like the what are those things called? The other dot you throw out. What's the fucking shit called?
Haunt
Haunt. Maybe you have Haunt going out too. I don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe that should chase. I don't know. That's just off the top of my head. Probably doesn't work at all. But that's what my brain went to. I was like, oh, okay, maybe, because that's the biggest problem, right? Like Witch Doctor has no really great speed farming.
I mean,
builds.
People love their chicken, and like, listen, it's okay, but chicken doesn't destroy the whole screen. Like Wave of Light destroys the whole screen. Multi-shot destroys the whole screen. Whirlwind, to a point, you can zoom through and destroy the screen. Even Crusader now destroys the whole screen. So Witch Doctor is still running around like a chicken, popping elites, and then cruising to the next one.
I don't like being a chicken. I will say that. Like if you could just like make like Spirit Barrage is cool. Not Spirit Barrage, sorry. Soul Walk or whatever it's called. What is it called?
It's called
Spirit.
Chicken. I think
Spirit Walk. Spirit Walk.
Chicken.
Spirit Walk.
Yeah.
No, not the chicken. If you could just be like Spirit Walk and walk fast that way, and you're just like a ghost.
Yeah, but then you're immune.
Yeah, but like you could change it. I don't know. I hate being a chicken. Like I just.
So what if they gave you like different chicken runes, like that could make you like a
velociraptor?
Or bear. Maybe a zombie bear. You could run around like a big zombie bear.
That fits the theme a bit more. But I don't know. But then it's like, well, are you a druid now? I don't know.
I'm gonna apologize right now. If you are a witch doctor main, I'm sorry. Like we obviously throw a lot of shade at witch doctor, and it's just joking. I don't personally play one though. I don't find them that enjoyable. But you guys that actually main witch doctor, I'd be curious, man. I'll throw some comments on the YouTube and let us see like what you feel about this as a main of a witch doctor, because to me, I don't main it. I'm not probably going to play it that much. So
we really need to get like Big Daddy to talk about this or something.
Yeah.
He's like OG witch doctor shit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and then they added some items to complement, the barber. Instead of dealing direct damage, your spirit barrage now accumulates.
But that was the same. They just gave it a higher damage mod, basically.
Yeah, it explodes and it does more damage and stuff. And it doesn't look like they increased it that much. Even they doubled it.
But it didn't need it. I mean, like Spirit Barrage this is what makes no sense. Like Spirit Barrage is already a pretty good build, and so like they could have just made this change to the barber. And then boom, like Spirit Barrage is a better build on LOD. But instead they gave it its own set. And I think that this isn't smart, because, there's other skills that the Witch Doctor has that people wanted more. Like people want a Zombie Chargers, people want Acid Cloud. And you could say, oh, well, Acid Cloud's on, God, what's that stupid set called? I don't know Witch Doctor as well as I should. But one of the sets has both of them. But it's just like it's so generic and not customizable really at all.
Here's the thing that I'll say about this. Like they're actively taking feedback for the new sets, I believe. And I think this was a while back now. It might have been 3 or 4 months ago, but I think they were asking for Demon Hunter feedback and something else. So the classes we have left are Necro, Demon Hunter, and
that's it.
That's it.
Yep.
So if you guys have what you think is a really good set idea, and you can actually take time to write it out, post it on the Blizzard forums, man. They read that shit. If you haven't seen, like, Matthew, the game producer, he's on there answering people all the time. Nevilistus is on there all the time.
Hey, someone from chat, go copy paste my Necro suggestions and just post it again. And if it doesn't come from me, we might actually get them. So everybody just copy paste that.
Change a couple words. Like, you have some kind of plagiarism thing that they can run it through to like make it,
and then be like, wow, these are really good ideas.
Yeah. So that's the sets that we got. Did we skip anything else in here? We talked about Crusader. We talked about the seasonal.
There's a couple bugs that got fixed. So one was Captain Crimson. How you get resource cost reduction by using one of the runes on Devour, Voracious.
Yeah.
Apparently that wasn't working together like it's supposed to, because Captain Crimson's supposed to give you mitigation. And it wasn't working. But I didn't even know, and I play Necro, so cool.
Yeah.
Nice. And then the second one I also didn't know about, but they fixed an issue where the Fists of Heaven's Divine Well failed to zap enemies.
Yeah, is that the rune that you use where all the lightning jumps out? That was Fisher.
The gold rune that jump. It's the one. Oh. So you cast it, and then like the 7 like gold fissures go out in a straight line.
Yeah, I didn't use that one anyways. I don't think. Yeah, I think I only used
Fisher. I mean, Fissures is gonna be better. Period. But I guess this might maybe makes it compete.
It'd be cool if they changed the hitbox a little bit on Fisher, because I feel like there were times where you could like surround enemies with them and they would just not register on Rift Guardians. But but yeah, that was it. That was okay. So let's step back and overall look at the patch notes. 2.6.8. How do you feel? How do you feel about this?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm a little disappointed as a Necro player. I've been saying this whole time, like, I'm totally fine with Necro getting their class set last, and I think that makes sense because it's the only class you have to pay for. So it totally makes sense.
And they were the last class we got.
Yes.
So if you look at, it just, it totally makes sense.
But that being said, there are so many things in the interim that are seemingly really quick wins that you can do for the Necro to make it fresh, to make it competitive. And they just didn't do them. Like, I think the one thing that they could do to really spice things up for the Necro this particular league is like Jessith, you know, it only applies to pets. If they just made it a flat damage mod on a season where we can wear other weapons in the cube in other slots and give us another weapon and make Jessith just better overall, like now you're cooking with gas, and that's exciting as shit.
Yeah, because Jessith is pretty much the scythe of the cycle or whatever. I mean, I haven't played in a while now, but it's like
but you have to run command skeletons. So that's like
it's
a
generic
trade-off
version of it, and it's like, why would you ever pick this
over
the other option? Yeah, the scythe is just better. You know, so I'm with you on that. There's it's an easy win.
Yeah,
but
but you also have to give. I mean, you don't have to, but like if you do that, it's smart to give a poison spammable rune as well, because right now the poison rune on command skeletons makes them blow up, so you can't spam it, which is a problem. So they could take one of the physical runes and make it poison, and that would be a quick fix. But anyways, but also you could buff pestilence, you know, the 6-piece pestilence, and then we said last week, you know, you can buff the bone spear damage. There's no risk at all in buffing the bone spear damage on pestilence. And RES.
Yeah, that kind of goes back to what we talked about the week before, where Demon Hunters and Necros were the least represented on the season, or the least on the ladder board. And they said that they were going to balance this based off non-season, but they didn't make any non-season changes to Demon Hunters or to Necros. Now, the seasonal buff is probably going to benefit Necro more than any other class, I feel like. Maybe not, but that's, my instant reaction is, oh man, Necros are juice. And potentially Demon Hunters a little bit too, but maybe that data came out late in the season. They didn't have enough time to like analyze items.
Maybe.
But it is surprising that they didn't get juiced up a little bit, just a little bit. Like even the sets that are already their top tier, their top performing sets, maybe just try to tweak numbers a little bit to get them in that range. And maybe they will. I mean, listen, this is the first go around of patch notes. I do expect the notes to change after PTR feedback. So maybe there could be more things.
Right. I think it sends a weird message to come out with this post that says, hey, this is what we're thinking in the long term for Diablo. And then to like get everyone hyped a little bit, because like, ooh, I'm a DH and I see DH is underperforming, and they say like, oh, we want this to perform better. And you're just like, oh, well, then we're gonna get buffs. Like, I'm so excited. And then to come out like not even a week later with a patch notes that has nothing for those classes, I think it sends a confusing. I mean, just me alone, I'm sure you've had it too. There's been so many people like, but I thought that they said that Necro and DH were bad, so like, why didn't we get anything?
Yeah.
And if again, I think that's probably like their long-term goal is to make those 130.
I agree.
But they need to say that. I think they need to say that to avoid this kind of confusion. They need to be like, okay, we know Necro and DH are underperforming, and like red text at the top. It's like, but their time's coming in 269 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, if you like look at the poll that we asked, right? So 1/3 of people don't want to play if there's nothing for their class. And like, why couldn't we buff one of the other monk sets that didn't get attention last season? Why couldn't we buff one of the DH sets? Like, I just don't understand.
It's got to be a manpower thing.
Yeah,
I think it's got to be, because I'm in the same boat. Like, Natalia has been sitting there for DH for so long. Like, that set has been booty always. Like, I mean,
no, when it came out, it was juicy.
N6 M4, like people, but I mean just straight Natalias, right? It's never been like, maybe a long time ago. In recent memory, I don't remember it ever being even viable. So can you tweak numbers? I guess the problem you have with that is if you juice up Natalia's, then you're buffing N6 M4 inadvertently.
I think that,
and it's
I think it's better for the game. And let me know if you agree with this. I think it's better for the game if they stop allowing you to N6 M4.
I agree too. I don't like it. I really don't. Yeah. I think that to me is Marauder's playstyle.
Yeah.
And that feels like Marauders, and it just feels like you're cheating Marauders. And it's like you have two sets that really are just being so fix Marauders, make it play how you want that set to play. Natalia's needs a complete redesign.
No. Natalia's original vanilla Natalia's is fucking awesome. I don't know if you
So
did you
what
if
what
you
did
ever
they change
played
from
it.
vanilla to now? I can't remember.
So like what you're supposed
Your
to do
arrows that you
is
shoot from the sky give you the damage buff now, and I forget the Rain of Vengeance, right?
right, but
Okay.
you're straight like it's a strafe build.
Yeah, I know, and I love strafe. That
Yeah,
was my
and
shit.
people are like, "Oh, Demon Hunter needs a strafe build." I'm like, they have one if they just take Marauder out of the equation and go back to pure Natalia. It's actually one of the coolest looking and probably most
because
fun builds in the game.
You're shooting
is
the rain from
actual
the sky,
Natalia.
which gives you the damage buff, and you can strafe and slay the trash.
It's
That's
great.
the way in your mind it should play, but it doesn't. It doesn't. Like strafe is just so weak that you can't pump the damage out of it, even with the Natalia's buff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's pretty booty. It's pretty garbage.
I don't think it needs a redesign. It just needs like some tweaks.
Yeah. Well, I think the Rain of Vengeance needs to not be flat damage. They could fix it right now. Rain of Vengeance does like what 10,000% damage. Just make it say 10,000% damage or whatever it is to like strafe or to whatever ability.
Because you don't want to play. Because then I know that's your thing. Like you want Witch Doctor to have fucking Whirlwind. You want DH to have Whirlwind, but in the form of strafe.
You can't have flat damage because that's why you're sticking it in with Marauders.
You can because like your whole purpose of you spamming strafe is to get Obsidian Ring and Zodiac procs to get those big damn like falling juice. Like that's the whole point, and like that's how it's different.
It's the juice, but it's not. But it's what it does now is it says after you cast Rain of Vengeance, all your damage is increased by fucking shit tons, and it can't just be like here's all this damage for anything. It needs to be the damage needs to be like focused at something. If it's not strafe, then it could be Rain of Vengeance itself, or what I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you agree with that? Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying.
Somehow lock it so that the N6 M4 combo isn't as good as it is right now.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Right.
People are saying that we missed the general. The general says that infernal machines and organs are now subject to vacuum pickup.
QL. Okay.
Yay. And crafting plans from bounties are now guaranteed from the bounty caches from doing, your act 1 through 5.
Right. Which is good because I don't know.
They're guaranteed until they've been learned, which is fine because you know what, man? If you are trying to get crimsons and you just get shafted over and over, it's like the new royal ring. Remember when it used to be a pain in the ass to get that royal ring?
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Yep. What do you think they could do? Like, because I still every season will get that one guy or a dozen guys in chat. They're like, I can't get a Rourke. I can't get captain. Like, how can they let people know that you only get those by doing X? I don't know. I guess PoE doesn't do it, so why should Diablo? But it just happens all the time. Like I just feel bad. Like I can't get it. I've been farming forever.
What if all the plans showed up in your armory guy?
True. And it says how you get them.
Grayed out, and it was grayed out, and you hover over it, and it's like tooltip. True. This plan comes from Act blah blah blah.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's an easy win.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. Like some things, it's okay to not say.
Sure.
But yeah, that's the patch notes. I think the seasonal theme is going to be super fun for a little while. I don't think it's going to have a crazy lasting appeal. But I could be wrong. Maybe experimenting on all the classes is going to be a good time.
I hope that
I like this one more than this season's though. I do think that this is way more interesting than the season of Killstreak.
Yeah.
100%. I don't hate Killstreak. I think it was a great effort. I think it was fun, but it's just not personally my taste. It's not something that I really gravitated towards very much. But I don't want to diss it because I don't hate it, But this seems really cool to me.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you. I agree. But I just hope that I'm already hearing, whispers of, oh, they should just add this to the game. The problem with that is if something is crazy strong, and which I hope is I hope that's not the case, because if like barbs or necros or whatever with 3 weapons in queue can do like 150s, they can't add this to the base game, period, because then all balance is thrown off. But 2, like, again, if people are hitting like 150 solo, I feel like people's enjoyment, at least what was it, like 50% of the population, according to the poll, like 50% of people immediately get burned out if they can like solo farm 150s. So,
and it doesn't even
if they're not the one doing it,
even if they're not the one doing the 150s, it's like if somebody has hit Magic Promised Land, well, somebody else is there. I'm not interested anymore. It's like, which is kind of weird to me, but it's a thing. It's a legit thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have to see how this plays out. I'm surprised that they are taking shots at giving this much power away, because I kind of feel like this season with the seasonal theme was super powerful.
Yeah.
And I felt like they were going to tone it back for this next season. I thought that maybe people abused it too much and they were going to be like, oh man, we can't do that again. But it seems like they almost even doubled down and they're like, okay, well, here's a shit ton more power. And
there's nothing they can really do about it either.
I'm glad that they didn't get scared and pull back, though.
Right.
But they could have been like,
yeah. They can't get scared and pull back, though. Is the thing with this, and it's a little scary because, like on PTR, we could literally discover, Necro with 3 weapons is like solo 150 or some crazy shit, or like even better trash killer than Bazooka, right?
Yeah.
But like, there's nothing they can really do before the season starts because it's like, well, we can't be like, well, okay, you can wear anything you want in Q, but like Necros can't wear like Nair's Black Death or something because that's too like they couldn't do that.
So or whatever is blowing him up. Yeah. Like let's say Necro has some corpse explosion. Like what's your theory that's going to kill Trash?
I think
Nova.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Necros are in there Novaing. I mean, they could just be like, yo, we're turning Nova off. Like this rune is broken now.
But that'd be so lame for like solo play. Oh my god.
Yeah. I don't know
either. But that'd be so boring. I don't know. At the same time, it's like, oh, everyone gets this cool new thing, but you, Necro.
But that's part of it, though. That's what makes this season exciting, is finding the broken shit, right? That's the only reason we care. We don't care about the 3 cube slots because it's like, oh, we care about the 3 cube slots because when I find that combination, it's going to be ridiculous and it's going to feel really good. And then if it's too good, we might break the game,
Right.
So we'll see. But patch notes are cool. The new sets are going to be cool. I'm kind of excited to see visually what they look like. I think somebody might have leaked something on Twitter, but I didn't look at it. I kind of wanted to wait. I don't know if it was legit or it could have just been a meme. I saw like you new Witch Doctor set, and I was like, I didn't click it. I'm like,
it makes them stand upright.
Yeah. Oh man, there's so many jokes that I'm holding back right now.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, it's not worth it. Let's see, what else do we have? So after that,
I heard this
some Diablo story. What do you?
Yeah. So okay. So do you know H3H3?
No, I have no idea.
Okay, so it's a really big podcast, like big.
Close to us. Okay.
Yeah, almost as famous.
Almost as good. Okay.
And so recently, he was talking about how he is addicted to Diablo 3 right now. And I thought that his story in particular was very interesting. Okay, so his story is like he's super into Diablo 3 right now, and he hasn't played since like vanilla, right? And he talks about like, oh man, like the game is so much better than it was back then. Like back then it was total shit. But he's like, I'm Paragon 200 something. I've got my set, and I'm just like wrecking, and I'm already like getting bored. And I thought that was a really interesting story because it's like, we get bored because like we go so fucking hard that like we get burned out and blah blah blah. But to hear like an insane filthy casual, right? Like the other side of the spectrum, they basically get almost burnt out for the same reason. Is that like they're just wrecking shit. They don't really see the point anymore. Like, okay, they could continue to like farm and get some augments, but like why you're just doing more of the same. So,
do you remember like your favorite moment in Diablo? Can you pinpoint like a time where you remember being like, fuck, this is so awesome? Do you like, as I have that moment and I remember it. Do you remember it?
Discovering Blightspear.
That was your thing?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So for me, it was vanilla, and I was leveling a demon hunter, and I think this was my first alt. I had rolled wizard, I think, right off the bat, and I rolled the demon hunter, and I was leveling, and I was just like playing with the two resources, hatred and discipline, And I was like, this is so fucking awesome. And I remember thinking, and it was because I got some legendary. It was, and in vanilla, you didn't get legendaries ever. So I got something, and I think it was like a rapid fire weapon or something. I'm rapid firing, but it's the making your character stronger is the reason we play the game.
Yeah.
And so once you've hit that cap and you're not increasing your power anymore, or your power gains are minimal, I think that's what kills it for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally.
And so that to me is like, that's why the season starts with so much fun, because you don't have power. You're getting the power.
The progression's back.
Yeah. And you have it. But once and so the crack to us is, let's get that progression faster. Give it to me faster. Hadrig's gifts, faster leveling, faster Paragon, faster rifts, higher rifts. But it's like every season it has to be a little bit better than the other season. Otherwise, you're like, well, I've already done this.
Yeah.
What's new? I can do it faster this season. Okay, cool. And then the same thing. I don't know how you can reset though.
Right.
Like you need a new game. You have to put a 4 on the end of the Diablo to make it reset. And I think that my biggest fear for Diablo 4 is the same thing happens though.
Sure.
Because we played the demo. How slow was it?
Pretty slow.
Like it was slow. And then by the end of Diablo 4, I bet we're fucking, speeding through everything again.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
That is interesting though, that this guy.
Yeah, I thought that was
playing Diablo 3.
Right. But yeah, I totally agree. One of the things recently I've gone back to hardcore solo self-found and Path of Exile.
Okay.
And it's because of this, exactly what we're talking about. So like we get excited to play Diablo 3 at the start of every season because the progression returns. It's kind of the same thing. So like in PoE, I was playing SSF and progression's like so slow in SSF because you get to find your own shit. But I'd gotten so good on my main guy that I was farming Awakener 8. I made an alt, farmed him on Awakener 8, made another alt, farmed Awakener 8, and it's just like I had run out of progression, so like I was losing interest. And the moment I was like, I'll go back to hardcore, and like we got to do it all over again. Like the fact that your progression basically resets all the time actually makes it like kind of makes up for it being hardcore and you losing everything.
Yeah.
Because the progression never ends.
Yeah. And I have something to relate to that a little bit. So I was trying to think of ways to play Diablo and make it fun for me again. Like make it, keep it fresh. And so last Friday, I did this thing where chat could punish me on stream. And one of the ways that they could do that was they could spend, Twitch has a currency. If you hang out in somebody's Twitch channel, you generate a currency, and then you can, the streamer can set up custom things to spend that currency on. So I set it up to where chat could spend the currency to have me instantly drop the weapon I had on, or instantly randomly roll and destroy a piece of armor, or couldn't use an ability, whatever. And so I'm like, I'm gonna restart on Switch because I have Diablo 3 on Switch. I never played it on console hardly at all. So I'm like, let me roll a character on Switch and just do it. And I started playing this Barb in season on Switch. And my personal opinion, Switch is a very fun console's a fun platform for Diablo. It works. It's not the same as PC. All the PC players are gonna tell you that PC is better, and I think it is better on PC, but it still was fun. And it was fun to progress the character. And that progression I made during the season, during that play session, was more fun than I had on PC on my, super juiced up character, full ancient, full augmented character, because it was getting that progression. And then chat totally destroying me was fun too. Like, they made me drop all my weapons to where I'm level 30 with my fists. You know what I mean? And it's just a good time, man. So I agree. The progression is the reason we play, I feel.
Yeah. There's just none in Diablo 3.
Yeah. Yep. We burned through it so fast.
So fast.
But let's switch gears.
Okay.
Have you heard about this Warcraft 3 stuff?
I mean, people have been going out of their way to comment on like the YouTube to be like, you guys have to talk about Warcraft. I still can't be bothered to look into it because it's Warcraft.
Yeah. So I looked into it a little bit because I got the same thing. So again, show that the Asmongold tweeted about it, and I was like, okay, this is kind of what got me interested enough to research. But Asmongold, he says on here, let me pull it back up real quick.
It says, pretty funny to see people mad as fuck over Warcraft 3. Blizzard seems to have once again released an unfinished game. As someone who's played WoW for 15 years, especially the last 5, you should have expected this. Might do a video on it later.
Yeah, so we, people are like, yo, do you even see Asmongold? So I'm like, what is everybody so pissed about? I don't play Warcraft 3. I don't think I've ever played Warcraft 3. I'm not a huge RTS guy. I did play StarCraft and StarCraft 2. That's primarily the only one I've ever played. But so I start looking into this, and I'm like, what are people so mad about? And like, I guess they didn't come through with their promise on better cutscenes and improved graphics. That's not what they got in the game. Like, they were showed things, I guess, in BlizzCon, and it didn't come through in the game. There's lots of bugs, crashes, hangups, assets don't load. I mean, just all the UI. There, people are saying the UI is worse than it was before. There's login connectivity issues where they can't even get in. They can't connect to friends. They can't do custom matches. They're saying that Reforged and the original game are on the same online infrastructure, and so now they've merged them, and so now those problems are also fucking over the original game, and so even the original owners are super pissed. They took out features that were in the original game, so like automated tournaments, clans, profiles, competitive ladder, all those things are just missing. It's like, there's new user agreements you have to sign to play that says if you create a custom map, Blizzard can use the custom map and not give you any royalties or credit for making it. There's like, people are trying to get refunds, and I even saw this on I think it's Heel versus Babyface. He's a YouTuber that kind of does like a news recap weekly.
Sure.
And he had bought the game, never played the beta, never loaded the game, and he went through on his YouTube channel live and tried to get a refund for it. And Blizzard was like, the website said something like, we're checking to see if you're eligible for a refund. And then it waited a couple seconds, and it comes back, says no eligible titles for refund or something. And so, it was, people were saying that they couldn't get refunds, and it's just it's become this huge thing. And like, the list goes on, man. I could keep reading this list, but there's just like so many things. And man, like, they announced this at BlizzCon 2018. It's been a year and 3-4 months since they even announced it. Wow.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I started to watch a video this morning of someone that was griping about Warcraft.
Yeah.
And like, I got maybe 5 minutes into it, and he said something about how when he would go back to the original, like, he couldn't disable shadows, and like, that ruined the authenticity of like the original game. And like, he was visibly very, very upset. And I could only think like, wow, like
like, you're pissed about shadows? Get the, like, what?
Not
the fuck?
just that, but like, I could only think to myself, like, this is such a dangerous thing to even get into. Because like, imagine, we had Mr. Llama on, podcasts ago. Imagine they come out D2 Reforged, and something's different. Guys like him who just love and obsess about the game as it is now, like, anything that's not perfect, they're gonna like shit all over it, and make YouTubes about it, and then the internet's gonna go in uproar with pitchforks and be like, yeah, like, Mr. Llama said this doesn't have shadows. Fuck Blizzard.
I agree with that. A lot of it, I think, is witch hunting.
Sure.
I feel like people just want to take shots at Blizzard because it's cool.
Yeah,
it's fun.
It's cool to hate Blizzard these days.
It's cool to hate Blizzard, and I agree with that.
Yeah,
I really do.
But they don't do themselves any favors either.
yeah, I agree with that too. But I do think that the connectivity issues, the feature removal, things like that should be disclosed.
Yeah.
And if people want a refund because, like, yo, listen, I thought this was the same stuff. Are these things were told to be in here and they're not? Whatever. But it's just man. I guess the whole point of me talking about this today Blizzard can't win.
No.
Like, they can't get a PR, a positive PR thing.
Well, that's
in the
not
news
true, because
to say,
WoW
like,
Classic, although it had its issues,
WoW Classic was super successful.
I think of that, that people loved it.
Yeah. It's just been a lot of bad to go with it too.
For sure.
It's like, man, they just they need like a year of just like no negative. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I thought it was interesting though, to touch on what Asmund said. He kind of went on to say, like, it's become like an ecosystem, right? So Blizzard makes an announcement or it comes out the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like fiscally in your best interest to shit on whatever they released, because like your video will get more views if you like shit all over the game.
Yeah.
Than if you're like, oh, this game's really good.
YouTube in general.
Sure.
Though.
Yeah.
You know, like if let's say I did a review of 2.6.8,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm like, okay, here's my thoughts in the patch notes. And if I put a video up and I said 2.6.8 looks awesome, it's not going to do near as good as if I said 2.8, 6.8 sucks ass.
Omega low.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just won't.
Right.
It literally just won't.
True.
I don't know whose fault that is, man. Is that YouTube's algorithm? Is that just people? Is that humans?
Humans.
You know, like, I don't know, but it's true. And so as content creators, like, listen, man, views matter to people. They matter to me. They matter to Fluff. They matter to any YouTuber you've ever watched. They matter, right? So when we're making a video, we want to put things like, you know, the wrong move or leak or whatever word might piss somebody off, because they're like, yo, this is going to get me in trouble. But as the content creator, it's like, you know, you may not see it the same. So I don't know, man. It is the thing though, to piss on stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. It's easy. It's easy to, right? We could sit here and we could shit on Blizzard for the entire podcast, but then it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, none of that. If we just sit here and shit on Diablo as a game, they're never going to listen to a word we have to say. So, like, we're here because we want Diablo to be the best possible game it can be. And we hope that, you know, us talking about it week after week and constantly getting, you know, community interaction and doing polls, and like maybe there's a shot in the dark that, you know, they watch this or they look at the comments. I don't fucking know. But like, that's why we do this. If we just sit here and we shit on the game for 2 hours every Tuesday, then no one's gonna listen.
Because we care about the game, you know. And so it's just interesting though. But man, that's a great observation though. And I don't know, you know, if it was Asmund that said that, or in just, you know, but you're right, 100%.
Yeah,
it's so, you know, the more negative you are in the video, the more people want to watch it, man.
Right.
And it's like reality TV's the same, dude. Like all the, you know. My wife loves to watch reality TV shows because they fight each other. Like, I'm like, why do you watch this? I was like, oh my God, it's so funny. They talk shit and then they fight.
Right.
And
yeah. I mean, you look at
that's what people like, man.
My BlizzCon coverage from 2018, right? Like, so I wouldn't consider it negative. I would consider it critical. But like, if you look at like a lot of the comments, in fact, when I gave my Diablo Immortal review, after I had asked the question that I asked, which a lot of people were just like, oh, wow, like you just shit on Blizzard, good for you. Like, that wasn't what I was trying to do at all. It was just to ask a question. So when people came in and they're like, oh, that's the guy that caused the boo, like, good for him. And then they see that, like, I gave the review, like, you know, a 5 out of 10 and called it okay. Like, it became like, oh, this guy's a fucking shill. This video sucks. Like, it's just like, because they came to see me shit all over the fucking game.
Yeah, that's what people wanted, man. They did.
So that was a wild time. But I, you know, on a different note, I read this, okay? And I don't know if there's any validity to it. So this guy named Richard Lewis. I really want to hear your opinion on this.
I heard the same story.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I heard the exact same story. Kotaku? Somebody wrote about this. I don't remember who, but yeah, go ahead.
Listen up, chat.
Blows your mind.
If it's real, if you take all the sources to be true, okay. So Apparently, when Amazon bought Twitch for $970 million, apparently Blizzard stepped in as a third party, not involved in the deal. Blizzard stepped in and legitimately asked what their cut was.
Right.
And the reasoning was it was Blizzard games that had made Twitch the platform that it is.
Somebody did an article on this, and I read the whole thing because I couldn't fucking believe it was true. And I still have a hard time believing it, but I think they might have even name dropped who asked, like who it even. And man, I should have. I don't think so. I don't think so. But
sounds like something you'd say.
I don't know, man. Okay, so let's talk about this. If it were true and if it weren't true. So if it's not true, then somebody's just a douchebag for making up a story. Like, that's fine. If it is true, holy crap.
Yeah.
You know, like your head is so far up your own ass, you don't even see what has happened.
Right.
Like you have no idea what's even going on.
And that's what, like, okay, so the part of me that believes it is, you know, the same like things that we saw happen after 2018, right? So Alan Adham's like, oh, you know, we made this game to hit our core Diablo audience. We know that our core audience is PC gamers, and we made this mobile game for them. And like you're, you know, like to me, that's like, wow, okay, like you're full of shit. Please stop. Like,
right.
It's just you're really like you're insulting us by even saying such a thing. And you know that level of cluelessness makes me think that okay, like he's an executive, so are other people like him? And so that's what makes me think that this could be true. But wow, that is so bold.
Yeah, and you know what else is really weird, man? And I never thought about this until just this second. But you think about this like they're the president, right, of the United States.
Right.
They can't be everywhere knowing everything all the time. Like these executives at Blizzard, they can't watch Twitch and they can't watch YouTube videos all the fucking time. Right. They just can't do it. But what if they have idiots reporting to them? You know what I mean? What if this guy, this CEO is like, you know, he's up here, he's doing his CEO business. And then he's like, okay, John, come in. Tell me about this. So what's going on in the world of Twitch? You're my Twitch guy. Yeah, man, Twitch, you know, Amazon just bought Twitch for $970 million. Do you know that Blizzard made Twitch? Like all of our games are number 1 through 10 on Twitch. We made this you should totally get some money from Amazon. And then so Mr. President's up there, he's like, damn, I didn't know that. And then he picks up the phone. Hey, Amazon, you gonna give us some money? I heard we made you, you know, like, you know, there's got to be some stupid informers or something going on for people to make decisions like that. Right. You know? So,
but it's funny you mentioned that because I just wanted to mention something real quick that is hilarious. What if the president?
Oh my God.
Trump tweeted out, "Congrats, Kansas City Chiefs, on a great game and a fantastic comeback under immense pressure. You represented this great state of Kansas, and in fact, the entire USA very well. Country's proud of you." Doesn't even know that the Kansas City Chiefs.
What state does the Kansas City Chiefs play in?
That would be Missouri. That would be.
Oh, Missouri. It's Missouri. Did he delete that shit?
Yeah, he did. He did.
Because see, I know, man, is this fake, dude?
No, it's fucking real. He had it and then he took it down. Yeah.
You're sure?
I'm 100% sure. Yeah.
Holy shit, dude. Now, see, for you and I, that's funny because we both know that Kansas City is in Missouri.
It's a common mistake. Sure.
Yeah, I live in St. Louis, which Kansas City is about 3 hours away. Fluff actually lives in Kansas City, so like we're familiar with the area. But oh my gosh, dude. Wow.
I just thought it was funny because you're talking about like, well, let people feed him wrong information.
So, okay, he didn't watch the game, clearly. He had somebody tell him. Do you think he wrote that, or do you think he had somebody? Do you think, you know, those guys have writers like out the ass that write shit for them? And he probably manages, man, his Twitter is so stupid. He has to do it. You know, like you can't pay somebody to be that stupid for you.
Yeah, so I read something that it was like 30% of what Trump tweets is Trump.
Okay.
And so maybe that was
the 30%.
I mean, it seems like most of the time the toxic shit is probably Trump and the other shit is when he says something nice, like maybe that wasn't him. I don't know. But
so did if you're let's say Trump didn't write that one, right? And somebody, one of his guys did. You think that guy's fired? Do you think that dude is like?
Probably not.
You don't think, man? You just made me look like a
Your
total.
job is to tweet for me. I don't know. You got something wrong. I don't know. Like considering Trump's track record of tweets, like that's what's gonna get him fired.
No, not get Trump fired. Get the guy
I know exactly.
Yeah.
But he probably tweets out the dumb shit for him. So
yeah, you're right.
Anyways,
that's
enough
funny,
about politics.
We never talk politics at all. But we're not talking politics right now. We're talking stupidity. It's totally different. Totally different. You know. And then so Ziz is doing some PoE stuff this weekend. Tell me about that.
So Ziz, infamous PoE streamer, he's doing a private league. Him and Steel Mage. Steel Mage is also a very good PoE player.
So tell me about the private league, because I don't play PoE enough to. I mean, I get the concept from the wording, but like, what exactly is a private league?
So a private league is
to invite you.
Yeah, a private league is something you can start at any time. It does cost money. You can set it though so that people like pay for their own slots.
Yep.
So you have to invite people to the league, and like invites cost money, and the amount of people you have have up to 2,000 on a server. Okay. And that's pretty expensive, I think. So they did crowdfund it and immediately got up there. And then it's called the PoE ZDPS League. I think I'm throwing a little bit of shade at Quinn.
A little shade at Quinn, yeah. Okay.
But it's basically a league where it's not hardcore solo self-out. It is hardcore, but you can't use, really the most meta skills. It's a melee league-ish. So
let me ask this. When he sets up the league, can he permanently ban those skills in the league to where you couldn't use them if you wanted to?
No,
or
but
is
he
it
can
an honor system?
See who's using them and kick them out of the league.
Okay. So it's an honor system that's trackable.
Yeah.
Okay. With you.
But I don't know like who's actively, doing that. That seems like it'd be a lot of work, but
yeah.
At least someone could if they wanted to.
I just thought it would be really cool if they could specifically say this skill is not usable in the league.
Yeah, that'd be really.
And then when you try to click it, it's just grayed. You can't do it. That'd be baller.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, so it is trade. So I'm not necessarily interested, but it's only trade amongst like 2,000 players. So, but again, that's a little sketch as well, because if you have like streamers doing it. This is what I think about Diablo 4.
Is it a competition? Are they doing a comp?
Yeah, it's a competition. Like the winner gets something. I don't know. But this is
the
like
winner being the first to kill XYZ.
Yeah, something
like Awakener or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But like this is the same thing I say about Diablo 4. Like if you can't, like if there's that limited trade, right? Like they talked about it at BlizzCon, like where you can trade like the really good shit like once.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of like bro deals and like, you're my favorite streamer. I watch you all the time. I love you. Here's like the craziest fucking shit. And so it's just like the best characters in the game are like the streamers, and not because they earned it, but because like their community just like gives them all the shit. And I don't love that.
I don't either, but you can't stop that though. That's one of those things where like if you're gonna do a league like Ziz does a league, then you gotta talk to the people. Like if you're going to have streamers in it, you got to be like, listen, guys, like I know your community is going to try to give you shit. Like if we're going to do this legit, then you can't. Like I don't know, man. You either have to make it a solo like no trade league, or if it's trade, you just have to accept that the popular guys have a huge advantage. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So because like an example, like my community gives me bounty boxes in Diablo 3. It's stupid. It's stupid that they can do that. But they're gonna give me bounty boxes. I'm like, okay, sure, thanks. And then I give them away to the community too. Like I'm like, well, if you're in the community, I'll raffle them off and give you some. But if Blizzard came and asked me, I'm like, you should disable that instantly. Like next patch, bounty boxes shouldn't be tradable. You have to have been in the game when they were completed.
Yep.
So that's just part of it, man. And people are like, oh,
but you can make it like, that's the thing is like, well, yeah, like we're like, well, you can't get around that. Well, you can. There's SSF, there's actual SSF in PoE. So I think if you were to do any kind of competition, it has to be SSF.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that 100%. But that kind of like, it would also be, so there's a lot you could do with these leagues, man. You could limit ability uses, you could limit gems or whatever, like I don't know PoE well enough to know like what to disable, what to enable, but what if you also did like groups? Okay, so you and I enter the Ziz League and we sign up as a team, and our team can trade items, but we can't trade items with anybody outside of our team. That would be fucking dope.
I'm in with that.
That would be so dope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like there are things, man, that they could do with this, and it's that would be really cool.
Yeah.
So
true.
Yep. But that's it, man. You want to hit up some Twitter questions?
Yeah. Do you have any PTR hates or anything like that?
Oh. Supposed to do fluff hates. PTR loves. That was the suggestion. PTR loves and fluff hates.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Right now I'm getting hit with some bullshit government crap.
Yeah, so in this segment of fluff hates, we started to talk about this off air, behind the scenes, and I'm like, let's save it for the podcast.
Sure.
You're getting effed. So in this episode of fluff hates, he hates home ownership part 2. Okay.
So like apparently
part 70, I don't know.
There's some clause where like, so say you bought like a piece of land in the state that you're in. I don't know if it's locked to particular states or not. I didn't look at that, but say you bought this piece of land, like, ooh, I like this land. I'm going to build my dream home on this piece of land. Or say you're like a builder and you're like, oh, this would be a great place to build like apartment homes.
Who did you buy this said land from?
From the builder.
So the builder is a company.
Yeah.
Not a person.
Right.
But
it wouldn't be any different if had I bought it from a person.
Okay, I'm going to let you explain your story, and then I have questions because this seems like so not legit to me. But go ahead.
So the builder, he builds my house, and there's something that says in the first year, I live in Clay County, Missouri, and Clay County, Missouri decided, you know what, Fluff, that price we quoted you on the land, yeah, we undershot that by $30,000, so we're gonna need that money, and they can just do that for the first year. There's nothing that can stop them.
Okay. So my question to that is, like, I bought my house from a person that lived here before me.
Mm-hmm.
I went to this person, my agent did, and they said, we're going to give you, I'm just going to throw a number out so it's easy, $200K. Say, I'm offering you $200K for their house. Person that lived here said, deal. I'm going to sell you my house for $200K. Okay. I moved into my house. Now, what you're saying in this scenario is the government's going to come back and say, you know what, PTR, your house is actually worth $250,000. We need that $50,000. I'm going to be like, fuck you. I bought it from him for $200,000. That's what he sold it to me for. So I don't really care what you're saying. It's worth. That's what I paid for it.
But that's not exactly the same scenario. So this land was not inhabited. It was like park land that the government said they were going to sell to the builder. But they're saying that they undervalued the value of the land.
So they sold it to the builder sold it to you, and then within 1 year of that initial
because now
sale,
I own the land. They're like,
within 1 year
by
of
the way,
initial sale, they get to fuck you.
Yeah. Apparently, this is a pretty common thing, and it's like, it's only further, proves my part one point.
Like, what if you don't have $30,000? What if you're like, listen, I don't have $30,000 to give you? Like, what the fuck?
Try to work with your mortgage company to be like, hey, can we just get this added in? And then they're like, they could be like, no, your home's not worth that much more. So like, we're not going to finance you for 30 more K. Like, it's
that sounds like a bad deal. It sounds like you signed up with the drug deal, man. You should have like read that contract better, dude.
It's not anything that I did.
I don't know what to tell you.
It's just, this is how the government like fucks you over for life. So,
you know what
what I'm trying to say, chat, is owning a home is a fucking scam. Okay, it's all a pyramid scheme. This only further proves Fluff hates part 1, home ownership.
Okay, so PTR loves home ownership. I have been a homeowner for 12 years, and I have never been fucked like Fluff at all, ever, really. I have enough equity in my house that it's paid off tremendously if I ever go to sell it.
Unless there's another housing bubble. Like, it's not, no, it's a scam. That's a fucking scam. Don't do it, guys. And the same thing I saw in your Discord, the same guy that was like,
oh, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. Okay. All right. Let's jump into some Twitter questions really quick. Real fast. Ninja turned down 15 million to Twitch to go to Mixer for 23. I've heard this number. The figure for Twitch is 15. The Mixer number I've heard changed.
This is crazy.
Yeah, dude.
That's big money. Crazy.
So, and apparently the deal is like Tim and Doc and some of these other guys are in that ballpark, man. They're getting like 10, 20, 15, and these millions of numbers to stay on Twitch too.
But the thing is, here's the thing, right? So this blows my mind, and this is why I wrote it on there. Okay. So allegedly, if this is all true, Ninja turned down 15 million from Twitch to go to Mixer for 23 million. And like now he's farming like 3,000 to 15,000 viewers. I gotta assume he's not making near the money he was making per month here on Twitch.
Well, listen, there's a difference of 7 mil there, though.
Right, so but like he was making that like every few months.
7 mil over the course of 3 years.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? Like that's an extra 21 mil in his pocket. That's over another free year of guaranteed. See, but the difference is guaranteed. And if you look at it, Ninja was already on the decline. His numbers were already on the decline. But this is
15 million, and they're not stopping you from continuing to generate the revenue you're already fucking generating. And you killed all of that to take 7 million more and kill your own platform?
Well, we don't know if those numbers are correct.
Sure.
Like I've heard numbers that Twitch was giving.
We're just assuming that they are for the sake of this argument.
I heard that Mixer doubled it and gave him 30. But let's say it's the 23. We don't know the other metrics behind the scene. Like, obviously, I'm sure he's got an accountant that was like, look, financially, this makes sense. You should do this. You know what I mean?
But what the hell does the accountant know about Twitch.tv?
I guess they could see trend. I'm sure that he's got somebody that's analyzing trends and revenue coming in and things like that. I don't know. It's fucking crazy money anyways, dude.
I know, but still, it's so
And you know what the thing is, though? Here's what's going to happen. Like, he's been gone 6 months or however long it's been. Whenever his 3 years on Mixer is up, he's going to come back to Twitch. Right. He's going to do this big, like, I'm back.
But I would bet, this is what I'm arguing. If he had stayed, if he'd taken the 15 mil and not the 23, I would promise you he would have made way more staying on the platform. You don't think you made 7 million in 3 years on Twitch?
No, 7 million a year for 3 years. That's the difference.
But okay, sure. But I don't know. That's not what this is either. Because now we're saying what? 2 million a year. Because if you break it down, like 2.3 million a year. No. This is the whole thing. It's not 23 million a year.
The numbers that I heard was it was 15 million a year from Twitch.
No, that's the whole contract. It's a 3-year contract for 15 mil. Like sports players.
That's not what I read, but I don't know. If that's the whole contract for 7 million for 3 years, I agree that he could have made that back up on Twitch. Right. You know what I mean? But the thing that I read was 15 million a year from Twitch versus 30 million a year from Mixer, and his Mixer contract was worth 90. That's the thing that I read. Nobody knows, man. We're all speculating, but
how would you go?
I don't know. He's paid. He just paid either way.
Where would you go?
I get 1 month and then just salary and I'll be set. You know what I mean? I'll full time it for a while. Anyways, back to the Twitter questions.
Yep.
If you guys want to submit questions to the stream, you can tweet them at me. You can tweet them at Lord Fluffy. You can join our Discords. That's the best place to do it. And leave some messages in the Discord. I check the Discords right before the podcast starts every week. So guaranteed to catch those. The first question we have this week comes from Connor. He says, did the seasonal theme make up for lack of changes?
I think it definitely helps. It definitely doesn't make up for it, but the fact that even though there were no changes for the Necro, there's still going to be new ways to play the Necro. I think that helps. If there was not that, and say this was the season of kill streaks, right, or some effect outside of like builds, I would have almost zero interest in this season.
I personally would have liked to have seen changes over the seasonal theme. Personally, if you were like pick one,
sure,
I would have said give me some changes, give me legendary changes, give me set changes, rebalancing. The seasonal theme is going to be interesting. Again, I'm super scared of the longevity of this seasonal theme. I don't think it's going to keep my interest. Kind of like this season did. This season's seasonal theme kept me for like 2 to 3 weeks, and I was like, man, all right, even with the new sets. So I hope it can, but no, I think it would have been cool to see some changes in there also. Of
course.
Maester Magus says, if you're stuck on a desert island with each other and you can only choose to have a full lighter, knife, or a med kit fully stocked, which one do you pick? We can't discuss in advance. So I guess you and I are on an island. What are you going to take with you?
You and I.
You said knife. I would say lighter.
No, I said you and I.
Oh yeah, you and I. We're stuck.
Yeah, I would say med kit because like you're gonna fucking hurt yourself, obviously.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a lighter because I want fire.
Actually, a knife so that when you die, I can consume your flesh easier.
That's nasty. I wouldn't. If you died, I wouldn't eat you. Still, I still wouldn't do it.
That's meat, boy.
No, not that fluff meat. I'd lose it, man. I'd start getting weird arm tattoos and shit. It'd be weird. It'd be weird. Have you seen Naked? Do you watch Naked and Afraid? I'm sure you have.
No.
Much travel.
No.
You've never seen Naked and Afraid?
No.
Oh man, it's
good television.
So they drop. Do you know what it is? You heard of it?
I think I know the premise. Yeah, like they just
drop people naked in the Amazon, and like you got to survive for 21 days with like nothing. So it's pretty interesting.
Do they have to be naked, or?
Yeah, that's part of it. Naked and Afraid. They get to choose like one item to go with them, like a lighter or a knife, or.
Is it naked just to get people to watch? Like
probably, yeah, probably.
Interesting.
But I mean, they're naked, so like when bugs start biting them and crawling up their ass crack, like there's nothing they can do about it.
Seems unsanitary.
Yeah, seems pretty nasty. Cole Smash says, "Thanks for the advice. Based on what you said, I'm going to ask the girl to marry me. Jewelry shop says 25% of my salary. Do you think that's enough?" Okay, now first off, Cole Smash first said, "Thanks for the advice, Fluff. I'm going to ask the girl to marry me." And he said this in my Discord. And so I said, "Do you mean thanks, ThaPChild? Because Fluff was definitely like, don't get married." And he's
what
like,
podcast was he watching?
And then he edited it to "thanks for the advice." So first off, Cole Smash, I'm a little offended that you thanked Fluff for telling you to get married, because that is 100% what he said not to do. But I'll answer your question real quick. You should pick out a ring that's within your budget. Fuck what the jewelry shop says, because that's how they make money. It's it's an entire thing.
Of course.
So like buy what you can afford to spend, man. It's not like the ring isn't a representation of your love. Asking her to marry you is the representation of your love. The ring's just like, here, this is pretty. You know what I mean? So yeah. Fluff's trying to not puke over there,
I mean, congrats, I guess.
That's the worst congrats ever. Voice trembling.
But yeah, of course, like a jewelry shop's be like, "Oh, you should spend 25% of your salary.
Spend all of your fucking money here."
And they'd probably be like, "Oh, how much do you make?" "Oh, I make like 80 grand a year." "Okay, you should spend about 50% of your salary
about
on a ring."
Yeah.
No, man. Honestly, here's what I would say, okay?
Okay.
Get a shit fucking ring. And if she says no because of the ring, good on you. You fucking like saved your life.
That's a pretty good strat. However, I wouldn't really say do that. Like have a real ring for backup. And when she says yes, then be like, "Oh, I was just kidding. Nope. Here's a good ring." And make sure they got a return policy at the store you go to. I'm not saying that she doesn't love you, just saying, look into it. You know what I mean? Just look into it. You know. No, but in all seriousness, there's a show on TV called Adam Hates Everything. I don't know if you guys have heard this. Him and Fluff would be best friends. If you look at the show Adam Hates Everything, he actually did an episode about the engagement ring, where it came from, how the 25% thing got. It's really interesting. Watch it. It'll make you a little sick to your stomach. Wedding rings are only a thing in the last couple hundred years. They haven't been a symbol of marriage forever, like we're led to believe. It was a marketing ploy from a jewelry shop, according to Adam Hates Everything. So Adam ruins everything. Sorry, ruins everything.
Yeah. I don't understand. Like, even the concept of precious gems, I don't really understand. Like, they're pretty, but like, how did they come to obtain such value? And same with gold. Like, what happened? Like, why did this?
Yeah, it's like how is that primal scythe of the cycle so valuable?
You would think like water and like things that we need to live would be the highest value. But.
Yeah. It is interesting. I don't know. Everybody has their own thing, man. And I guess at some point in time, a lot of women were into jewelry. You got to think it's related to that, because guys like bats and balls and sticks and cars, and you know what I'm saying? Like, not really rings. So.
Have you seen Uncut Gems?
No, I haven't. Is it a movie?
Adam Sandler movie?
No, is it good? Oh, is it the one where he's an agent, a sports agent?
He's not a sports agent.
Oh,
he owns a jewelry store.
No. Okay. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Brutal.
I'll check it out.
Brutal.
I'll check it out. Onion says the proposed level cap in D4 is going to be 40. Some people are upset that it's super low, while others don't care as long as getting to 40 takes a decent amount of time. Question is, should they bump the level cap to 100 or stick to 40?
Yes. And so I actually responded to this on Discord because I'm so passionate about it. I think that question is a miss at what the actual problem is. So whether or not the level cap is 40, whether or not the level cap is 5,000, that isn't what the problem is. It's that Diablo 4 is intending you to play Diablo like Diablo 3, where your whole progression up until max level is just something that you do, and then the game begins.
Yeah.
And that
a really easy way to say that, leveling has to be meaningful. And it's not in Diablo 3. It's meaningless, right? Is this where you're going with it?
Not necessarily.
Okay. That's kind of where I was taking it and thinking, but explain to me your process a little bit then. Like, so what is, if it doesn't matter the difference if it's 5,000 or 40, what makes that a thing? The journey? The what?
Yeah, well, it's just like, you look at, say, Path of Exile, for example. The level cap is 100. Again, I don't know that it really matters what the level cap is, but there's no, like, and even, I mean, PoE does it to an extent, like, okay, once you get past the campaign, like, then you've really started the game. But you can find something along the way that's, like, you use throughout the whole game. And that's the same thing with Diablo 2. Like, Diablo 2 is like, well, the level cap is 99, but, like, the game didn't really start at one particular time, like in Diablo 3. Like, Diablo 3, like, it's literally pointless to do anything before level 70.
Yep.
And so I think that is the problem.
Okay, I agree. If you get any nice legendary item at level 69 in Diablo, it's worthless.
Right.
At best, you can cube it. At best. Yeah, I would agree if there's a way that they can make items usable at end game that you get along your journey. It's pretty cool. My thing is that it's got to be meaningful. It's got to be worth something. Like, if it's just a roadblock or a speed bump to getting to meaningful gameplay, why are we doing it? Why even waste our time? And then eventually, at some point, they will eliminate that process. They'll let you power level. They'll let you speed level. they'll sell instant level boosts. They'll do something to get that speed bump out of the way. And if so, that it's worthless. Like, why waste so much dev time on a process that's worthless? It needs to have some kind of value to it. And like Fluff's even saying with getting items as you level up, sure. Like if you can use them forever, that makes that meaningful. But other things or ways that would matter, and they have to do something, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, leveling in Diablo 3. It's like that's one of the things that, you know, one of the reasons I don't play hardcore in Diablo 3 is just the fact that you'd have to level again. It's like,
right.
You know, 20, 30 minutes every time that you just like don't get back, and it just feels terrible. I mean, you can get power leveled or whatever, but then you have to waste someone else's time, and I just hate that.
Yep, I'm with you. That's it, man. That's all the questions we have this week. You guys submitted questions. Thanks. If you, like I said, if you want to submit some for next week, join our Discords, hit us up on Twitters. Anything else before we get out?
No. I heard you're working on that skill tree still, because it's happening soon.
Yeah, man. You know, I was actually, if they hadn't have announced the PTR this coming week, I probably would have fired it up this week.
Sure, dude.
That's a great excuse not to play PoE. Once I get bored with PTR, or once I do the testing that PTR is, I mean, this is a thing, I guess. PTR is kind of, how much do you put into it? Like, I want to play it, but if I put a lot into it, then I'm already burned out before the season even starts.
Yeah,
I don't care as much.
It is tough because, like,
so it's like, how much do you invest, man?
Right, because you have so much fun playing the new build that you've discovered or whatever, and you just want to keep playing that, but then at the same time you're like, well, I don't want to like keep playing it because if I do, I'm going to burn myself out.
Yeah.
So smart thing is just to play until you've got all the builds figured out, and then peace out. But if it's there, you want to play it.
I think my PTR experience is going to be, I want to play the new sets real quick and see which one I like the most, because I'm probably going to target one of those in the season as my main character, and then potentially look at some of the cool things you can do with the cube. But I don't think I want to go hard at the PTR, because I'm afraid it's going to really just make me not want to play after the first couple of weeks in the season. And I think that discovery is going to be a lot of fun. I feel like I'll be behind the 8 ball a little bit if I don't. Like, there's a lot of pressure, I think, to try to play PTR and figure out these builds. And I think I kind of want to just save it for the season and enjoy the season. But yeah, man, you know, as soon as I feel like I've got my fill on PTR, I'm thinking about firing up PoE a little bit and trying to get some experience.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be brutal. It's going to be rough, you know.
But, you know, Wilson also comes out next Thursday.
Does it?
It does.
I think that's on sale right now.
Is it?
And once it releases, the price goes up. So if you, I think, I'm not 100%, you can double check that, chat. But if you're interested in Wilson and you're listening to this, like, at least go check the price, because I think it's like $15 cheaper prior to release. So pre-order cheap.
I know I think they're sponsoring Ziz to play it.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I wonder, like, because I get people ask me all the time, like, oh, are you gonna play Wilson? What do you think about Wilson? When are you gonna play Wilson? I think maybe, I wonder if I hadn't like kind of crapped on it so much, if they would offer me
maybe
a little bit, maybe. Oops.
Yeah.
I think the game, by the way, the game looks so good. I can't wait to play. Alpha and beta were phenomenal.
This guy's so full of it. You know, it's, I watched it, and it looked interesting, but I only have so much free time in a day, you know? It did it. So, all right, honest, I haven't played it. That's disclosure, as I haven't played it, but I have watched people play it. Did it look good enough to you to be like, I want to invest my time? Because like, time is my currency that I have. It's not, for me, it's not like really being able to like, oh man, I don't have the money to buy the game, or I don't have this or that. That's not the problem. The problem is I only have 4 hours a night that I get to game, which honestly is crazy by most people. 4 hours a night's insane, right?
Yeah.
But I get 4 hours a night to play games, and it's like, man, I really want to play shit that it's like pulling at me to play it. And it didn't. I wasn't like, dude, that looks so dope, I gotta play it. I was like, yeah, it looks okay, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, man. I want to be wrong. Like as much as I'll, crap on a game or whatever. I always want to be wrong because I want more ARPGs to play. Mm-hmm. Period. At the end of the day. But it wasn't. Alpha and beta weren't fantastic. They didn't blow me away. Yeah. So, but okay. Maybe we're wrong.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I reached out and I told them, I was like, hey, are you guys interested in me checking out your game? Blah blah blah. And they didn't reply to me. So
probably because you do the podcast with me.
Maybe, but that was kind of it. Some of it was like, if your product is really good, then I'm gonna praise it, and people would hear that, and I think it, and maybe that's me being full of myself. Maybe I shouldn't be like, oh, you should. Like, what does my opinion matter? Like, I guess it doesn't, but I feel like if your product was good, then at least people that hear the podcast would be like, oh, I'm going to check that out, So
whatever, the shill child.
The chill child. I wouldn't chill. I don't know. I wouldn't say anything if it were bad. And if they were nice enough to give me a copy, I wouldn't shit all over it. I wouldn't be like, fuck, don't buy this. I would, you would just say things like, oh, it was interesting.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Or, like there are ways to be nice, So. All right, guys. That's it. Easy. If you want to find out more about me, you can catch me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, everywhere at ThaPChild.
Yeah. And I'm Lord_Fluffy everywhere besides double under those underscores on the Twitter. And we'll see you guys next week. After we've played a little bit of the old PTR. So we'll see how that goes.
That will be interesting, yeah.
Yeah. Peace out, dudes.
See you.